Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day, and above all else, trying to be looking after yourselves and one another. Before I get into the topic of what we hope to be another entertaining, informative, insightful episode, I want to welcome back to the channel Mr. Ken Cheshire. Is it going, Ken?
It's going well, Armando. Thanks for having me back.
He's laughing because I said insightful. We'll see about that. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new album review to do for you today. And Ken is going to take the reins on this. We're going to be talking about the latest release from Toad The Wet Sprocket called Rings, the Acoustic Session, uh, released on January 27th, 2026 through Abe's Records. 14 tracks in total. This is an album of re-recorded acoustic tracks from the band. The album has a total playing time of 51 minutes and 10 seconds. That is my spiel. I will pass the virtual mic over to Ken because he's wanted to do an episode on this album for a while. And now he's got the opportunity. Ken, take it away.
Thank you, Armando. Toad the Wet Sprocket, a band that was quite successful back in the 90s. I mean, they were on, uh, their songs were on television shows and movies. Um, uh, right about the time, especially around 91. But anyway, Toad the Wet Sprocket, if you've never heard of them, is an American alt rock band uh, formed in Santa Barbara in 1986. The name, Toad the Wet Sprocket, um, it's both memorable and very forgettable at the same time because it's so odd. They took the name from those that are familiar with Monty Python's Flying Circus, the British comedy troupe, from a sketch that Monty Python did on one of their albums, in which it was a fictional band in one of the skits, Toad the Wet Sprocket, having absolutely no idea that these young lads from California were going to adopt it as their own. Um, and there's even a story that Eric Idle from the Pythons um, said he was driving and the radio DJ said, "Here's the latest from Toad the Wet Sprocket." That he actually had to kind of pull over and make sure he heard it right. They released 5 albums from 1988 through 1997.
Okay.
Um, the last 4 were particularly well received, rightfully so, in my opinion. They are still remain to be maybe my favorite band of the 90s, definitely in the top 3. They disbanded in 1998 and went on to do their own project. The lead singer, Glenn Phillips, who's also the primary songwriter, kept performing and doing his own solo stuff and keep doing some of the more popular Toad stuff. And then around the mid 2000s, they got back together again and started touring. And you know, there was during the time there was kind of a re emergence of a lot of the early alt stuff, and alternative back then was kind of different from, in my opinion, of what it is now.
Yeah.
This is very melodic music. This isn't hard rock. It's not grunge. It's just something that's just a little bit left of what's on top 40. And then in 2010, they made it official. They're back together again, and it's the same 4 members of the band. The band, as it is now, stands exactly the same as when they began, except for one member. The drummer did have to retire for health reasons, but he stuck with the band right up until I think 2012. So they kept touring and playing, and that went very successfully. In 2013, they released an album called New Constellation. They had no record deal, no studio behind them. They
Yeah.
wanted so they thought, okay, well let's get on Kickstarter, see if we can raise the money. They had hopes of raising $50,000 within a few months in
Can I,
order to make the album.
can I just ask you a question? Were they
Uh-huh.
were they not signed in their original run through Sony Music to Sony?
I can look. Um,
Sorry,
Columbia,
Columbia, it's a Sony. Yeah.
Columbia. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. What is now Sony?
Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, that's fine. And so they wanted to raise $50,000, to record the new album, and hopefully within a few months, they reached that goal of $50,000 within 20 hours.
Oh my God. Okay.
And eventually, the whole Kickstarter campaign, they originally, um, at by the end of the campaign, raised $250,000. This was the kind of reaction their fans had. They had approximately 6,300 contributions to make this album. Maybe not the biggest Kickstarter or most successful Kickstarter campaign ever, but damn impressive as far as I'm concerned. Um,
Hmm.
and New Constellation came out in 2013. This album just picks up right where they left off in the 90s. It's a phenomenal album. And in many ways, it's even better than some of the earlier albums. It's just so solid. Anyway, so this kicked them off again. Been touring constantly. In 2021, they released another album called Starting Now. That is their most recent studio album, and have done quite well. They have done quite well.
Hmm.
Which brings us to this album. They decided they wanted to make an acoustic album, previous release materials. The original concept, if I have this story right, I've read this in two different sources. They were just going to set up a couple of mics, and then they were just going to sit around in a circle and just record it live that way.
Hmm. That's what it sounds
So,
like to me.
yeah. However, I don't know quite what the process was, but at some point they decided, let's bring in this sounds so good. Let's bring in some other musicians and flesh out the sound. And boy, did they!
Mm.
Um, they've got a good 15 guest musicians on this album, primarily on mandolin, accordion, a little bit of backup vocals,
Yeah.
violin, fiddle, vibraphone. Um, that really takes the songs and just fills in these little gaps that weren't necessary to fill, but it just lifts it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
So this album is celebrating 40 years of this band. Um, it's more than a greatest hits style album. It really is a love letter to all the old fans like me.
Hmm.
Um, at the same time, also appealing to younger new listeners like yourself, young sir.
Oh, thank you.
There you
Can we
go.
can we just go through who's in the band right now? Because
Yeah,
right now they're
yeah.
down to a trio. So, and I hope I say the last name correctly. In the band right now, you have Dean Dinning,
Hmm.
Dinning, on bass guitar, backing vocals, keyboards, rhythm guitar. Uh, Todd Nichols on lead guitar, backing vocals, and mandolin. Love that mandolin. And Glenn Phillips on lead vocals, rhythm guitar, mandolin, and keyboards.
Yeah,
With a whole shitload of guest musicians on this album.
that's right. And the original drummer's name was Randy Gus. Um, and it's funny to look. The drums have such a large sound on their albums, but he's just a little wiry guy. And I
Mhm.
can't think of the name of the disease, but he suffered from a bone disease where the bones are very brittle.
Osteoporosis?
It was something else, but it's
Okay.
probably close to that.
Okay.
But the drum, man, his drumming has such a large sound. You know,
Mhm.
for an instrument that requires so much physicality and whatever to deal with that, with that disease is just absolutely amazing to me. And he did it for so long. He finally retired in 2020. Um, you know, he just couldn't keep it up the way he used to. Yeah, I don't recognize the name of any of the guest musicians on here. Um,
Mhm.
I'm guessing they're probably well respected within their genres. They're surely well respected by me on their contributions to this album.
Yeah.
Um,
And just to quickly point out, the album was produced by the three members of the band and Sean McHugh.
Sean McHugh,
Yeah.
who also plays acoustic guitar on one of the songs too.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
but it's a very intimate album. Uh, and that's for two reasons. First of all, the acoustic instruments. It just has, you know, sitting around in um your den, your music den, listening to playing live, but also because of the song selection.
Yeah.
I've read several interviews that said this is almost like it's almost a little bit it's personal like a journal is,
It is.
and
I would
and
agree.
it's just yeah. So any Toad fans will recognize probably most, if not all, of these songs. Some of them don't stray too far away from their original visions of their recording, but some venture a little farther away, but in a very, very good way. One thing that if I went through this album song by song, everyone would get tired of me saying such things as excellent vocals and harmonies, excellent,
Yeah.
excellent mandolin on this, and or accordion or whatever. But it's true, um, and this covers, if I'm not mistaken, there's songs from every single one of their albums, at least one, um, from the earliest to the most recent.
Hmm.
Um, and it starts off really strong with a song called "All I Want," which is probably their most recognizable songs from 1991, um, from their third album, Fear, which was my introduction to the album. And this was one of the two songs that were getting played on the radio a lot, but also used, like I said, in various TV shows and movies also.
Yeah. You
It really
see,
does set the mood of the album.
yeah,
Like I said,
I
warm
was just,
harmonies, and Brian Mann's accordion is just amazing in this.
yeah, I was just gonna say, the minute you said the name of the song, I mean, the chorus was in my head.
Yeah,
It's a hell of an earworm. It's a,
it is.
yeah,
It really is. It
I know.
really is. The and it really does set the mood for the album, um, especially for the here again for the Toad fans because it's just so identifiable with the band. It's just like, you know, okay, here we go. You know, strap in, put on the
Yeah,
headphones,
yeah,
turn the phone on mute, and go for it.
yeah,
So yeah, just a wonderful selection of songs. Any, all of them are raised to a different level with the arrangements,
yeah.
regardless of how close they are to the original recordings. And what really surprised me is probably my favorite song on the album is the one off their first album, which is one I go to least. Um, uh, the song "Jam," which you
Track
get
five. Yeah,
no idea, you know, what the song is about based on that title, because the first album was recorded very stripped down, They weren't doing a lot of harmonies. They were just focusing on the lead vocals and instruments.
Yeah.
The recording technology isn't that great. This first album is called Bread and Circus from 1989. But the arrangement they do on this, they pull it back. It's not rocking. Um, it is, it's re-envisioned.
It's a
It's
reimagining, yeah, of
it's so warm. It's heart tugging both in lyrics and the addition of the mandolin, um, uh, the addition of Sean McHugh's acoustic guitar and a cello. Just
wonderful.
really, just oh my gosh. Um,
Wonderful.
it's one
Yeah.
that when I read the track listing, it's like, yeah, okay. And
Is it okay if I go through the track listing?
go through the
Just
track listing, my friend.
okay. The track listing is such. All I Want, Wood Burning, Good Intentions, Inside, Jam, Walk on the Ocean, California Wasted, Something's Always Wrong, track 8. As I go through my notes here, ladies and gentlemen, part 1. Okay, continuing. Fall Down, Little Heaven, uh, Transient Whales, Nancy, Scenes from a Vinyl Recliner, and Rings, the
Yeah.
title of the album, title track. Amazing. All 14 tracks. Amazing. But I digress. Continue.
Which ones stand out most to you, Armando?
I'm not going to give the rote answer and say all of them because
Yeah.
that would just be too easy. All I Want
Hmm.
is a good opener, a good strong opener. I've got nice use of accordion, great acoustic guitar, beautiful harmonies on that track. Good intentions. Uh, nice use of mandolin on that track. Inside is another good one.
Yep.
In my notes I have here, very rhythmic. Nice use of accordion and nice use of congas.
Yep.
Jam is a wonderful track. Again, great use of cello
Oh, absolutely.
piece. Just it wraps around you and it just takes you away on that track. It's just wonderful. Again, nice mandolin on that track. Other songs of note, Something's Always Wrong. Uh, it's funny because the only thing I have on that piece is nice tight snare drum on that, because the way they mic'd it, very
Yeah.
close to the mic,
Yeah.
but a very thick and rich snare drum sound. It's not flat or tinny at all. It just, I'm not going to go through the whole album, but this is a very strong album from the band. It's wonderfully done, wonderfully done. A wonderful reimagining of these songs from
Sure.
top to bottom. Um, you know, uh, just an amazing album to listen to. All I can say about this album for me is I've listened to it like 6 times, and since we talked about doing this episode, and thank God, thank you for introducing it to me. It it's an album of the songs that were picked for a reason. It's an album of reflection, of introspection, of taking stock of one's life and just looking around and saying, okay, I've said this before about other albums, but this is an album of like looking around at your situation in life and saying, okay, this is where I've got to at this point, and I've got to go forward from here. And that's what this album is all about for me
Yeah.
as a novice to the band. So,
And it's amazing for these songs. First of all, you've got the obvious hits here.
yeah,
The two tracks from the Fear album,
yeah,
but many of the others are originally more deep album tracks,
yeah,
which, like I said, they weren't just trying to make a greatest hits here. They were
no,
they were putting together a specific album.
that was going to make
Like
a
I said,
statement.
yeah, and the lyrics apply just as much now as they did in the 90s.
Yeah,
To where I think, for instance, the song "Something's Always Wrong" um, is is a big favorite. Um, it's smooth and introspective, but the lyrics still have that edge to it. So
Yeah,
it's almost it's like, okay, there's that edge in the music. Something's always wrong in a relationship, and but it lends it to um, uh, instead of happening now, looking back in your life. Um,
yeah.
the guys aren't that old. Um, they're not old like me, but
Or like me, well, like me, probably.
but
Yeah.
but it's like some other albums that I talk about. It's looking back, and it's got a certain amount of there's that retrospective aspect of it, and there are some truths in relationships and in life in general that are universal,
Yeah,
not just across millions and billions of people, but also within a single lifetime. That's why one of my favorite, if taking a step to the side here, um, my favorite Bruce Springsteen album, not my top favorite, but one of my favorite Springsteen albums is Western Star. It's Western Stars, which is very retrospective. It's written
yeah,
from the standpoint of a a character, a person um, of Springsteen's age now,
yeah,
looking back on his life.
yeah,
And as a person that's in my mid 60s, it really resonates with me on that
yeah.
level because I can't personally relate to what was he was writing about in Born to Run anymore. I could back then when it came out. Not that
Because
I didn't live in New Jersey, but
yeah,
that whole thing of breaking out because I wanted to break out of my little country town also. But yeah,
because
it's
that's because you've evolved as a person. We all change. We start out at one point, and then go through life and change, and we arrive to the point where we are at now. So I mean, yeah, I get that 100%.
yeah, and Todd Phillips said in an interview, someone asked him about the fact that they didn't break out really big. They had mm, mediocre, moderate success for 5 or 6 years, but they didn't take the world on by storm. And Todd Phillips said, you know, that's probably was probably for the best because he said we might have been if we'd have broken out on a huge level, we might have ended up like a lot of bands that you know all of a sudden were very, very, very popular, and then everything fell apart. The trappings of huge success and stuff like that. The fact that it's the same three guys have been playing together for 40 years.
Well, there is this thing about, a band coming up, becoming successful right out of the gate, and then burning up um on takeoff. It's like,
Yeah.
and then they explode or implode because for whatever reason, the popularity is so heightened or intense that they realize, okay, we got to keep this going. How do we do that? Oh, we don't know how to do that. Oh, okay, well then let's break up, kind of a thing, for whatever reason. So uh, he's right. Glenn Phillips is right. Um,
And they still, I mean, they're still touring right now with oh shoot, I'm sorry, the name is this oh Men at Work. They're
okay,
touring in the US. It's not a long tour, but one thing that I've read about, I never got to see them live, but one thing I've read about that people say, their fans say, hearing them live is just is like listening to them on record. They are got that good live that they are able to do that.
That's
Um,
good. That's
and
good.
not a lot of bands can do that,
No.
not at all. And so he takes that as a compliment. So they're successful enough that they can make a living at it. They enjoy doing with it. They still have their families individually. To watch them, um, and there's plenty of wonderful videos on YouTube. It's obvious they're having a great time,
Yeah.
and the audiences also.
Yeah.
Um, uh, for our viewers, if you look down in the info box below this video, you'll find purchasing information for this album. Yes, it is available in Amazon, stuff like that. But I would recommend buying it from the band directly, and that link is there. Therefore, they get more of the proceeds for it.
Yeah.
We've got links to for you to check it out on both Spotify and YouTube. Um, there is their link to their social account on X, which they're very active in,
Yeah.
and their official website. A lot of really great videos. You can go directly to YouTube or on their website. It's all there. They got a great website. They offer a lot of content for people. But yeah, for fans of 90s music, um, of this alternative, what was alternative back then. If you're only familiar with those two songs, that's great. Check this out. Check out their albums,
Hmm.
particularly the albums from '91 through '97, and then in the 2013 New Constellation when they got back together and recorded again.
Hmm.
Um, to me, it's just this is music that feeds my soul. Um,
I can see that.
I love the instrumental. The songs have such wonderful hooks. The songs are very melodic, both in the vocal lines and also the what they're doing in the instruments too.
Yeah.
The fact that all three of them sing, so the bass player and the guitar player are doing harmonies,
I
sometimes along with the lead vocals, sometimes as a comment and echo kind of thing in some of
uh,
the.
I was gonna say, Dean and Todd, the way their harmonies can wrap around one another, their voices blend beautifully.
They really do.
There's a richness and a lushness to their harmonies, never mind the instrumentation, which is
Yeah.
flawless, bloody effing flawless on this album. There's a richness to their harmonizing.
Yes.
It's just sublime. I mean, unbloody real.
I
My
get
only,
chills. Yeah, I especially get chills listening to the song Little Heaven.
yeah,
The song is gentle, it's very heartwarming with that ethereal kind of sparkle in there. The
yeah,
vibraphone that they add to this from Steve Hernandez is just it's subtle, but it's absolutely brilliant. Um,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
I was just gonna say that in listening to this album, there's a timelessness to this album that it's just magnificent. And I was going to sort of, because of the acoustic sort of folk kind of feel to it, I was trying to think of a comparison. I would say this this album to me reminds me of Gordon Lightfoot during his 70s run
yes,
for Warner Brothers and for Reprise. Uh, lush arrangements, wonderful vocals, beautiful production, just magical, just
yeah.
wonderfully done, impeccably done, just
If you
wonderful.
want to hear some excellent mandolin, this is a good album for it.
Yeah, yeah.
It highlights three different mandolin players, and man, do they bring it.
Mandolin galore. I mean, it's just, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put
And
the links below. Sorry, you were gonna say?
no, I was just going to say, on the song Wood Burning, Todd Nichols brings some slide dobro. Oh, it'll burn your ears.
Oh,
It's just
it's okay.
amazing.
I'm hearing slide guitar, so it's dobro that he's
I
using.
think
Okay,
it's dobro. I
okay.
think, but I
Because
could be wrong.
what I like about that wood burning is the fact that they use brushes on the snare.
Yes,
Just a
yes,
wonderful touch, very
yes.
delicate touch, wonderful touch of the brushes on the snare drum for that track. But yeah, as I
Yeah,
was,
Carl
mhm,
Thompson doing the drumming on this album, on some of the songs he's playing a cajon, which you'll see in some of the videos for this album. Um, but a lot of times it's just a drum with a towel draped over it, just to kind of give that real subtle but crisp snare sound without being bombastic.
yeah,
Uh, and then on others it's using the brushes.
hmm
Everything is subtle in a way that it just less is more is what it does. And yeah, I'll spare our people. I could gush on this album all day, but I could do that about the band anyway.
actually, in comparison, there's an album from Canadian progressive rock band Saga that came out in
Yes.
2021 called Symmetry through Inside Out Music,
Yeah.
where this was during lockdown, during COVID lockdown, and they did rearrangements, acoustic versions of their tracks, and they would use uh, household instruments like pots and pans for percussion
Yeah.
on some songs. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Uh, Pretty much the same vibe as this album, but
Yeah.
this album is just even from the album cover. I'm trying to picture it. We're trying to give you a description, but this album is like you're sitting around a campfire with a group of friends, and you just start singing,
Yeah.
and the emotion that comes out on this album is just gut-wrenching to me
Yeah.
at times. It is just
Incredible
wonderful.
songwriting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because a lot of
Listen,
times you have great musicianship with mediocre songs,
yeah,
or great songs played badly.
yeah,
I've always loved the marriage between songwriting and performance for this band.
yeah, yeah. This is a classic case of less is more.
Yeah,
You know. But ladies and gentlemen, again, we will put the links in the description below to where you can get the album, to their website, etc. Um, because you really do need to listen to this album. It is simply wonderful. Like no word of a lie. No word of a lie. Um, can I ask you a question before we wrap up?
yeah.
Why do you think as a fan, uh, that the band didn't hit as big as they could have?
Um, I just think of in the '90s there was there was so much going on in the industry. Um, you've got grunge coming in, you've got just so many different new genres and new styles and whatever. And like I said, they had success. Um, I think it was Good Intentions, maybe the one song was featured on the TV show Friends. Um, several others were. One is from was in the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Okay.
the original film, and the old WB, Dawson's Creek and stuff like that in the
Yeah.
'90s.
Yeah.
But I just think there was just a lot of stuff going on, and their style just wasn't. It was kind of more singer-songwriting writers kind of category,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't the kind of thing that jumped out and slapped you upside the head to get your attention like a lot
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
I,
know.
no.
And
Okay, well,
honestly, like I said, I bought Fear in '91. I played the heck out of that, but it wasn't until several years later, part of it because I was in graduate school and just was so busy that I
hmm.
went and finally bought their final three albums, Dulcinea, Coil, and yeah, Dulcinea and Coil, the two after Fear. That it's like, oh wow, I didn't realize they were still doing really good music. I thought Fear was
The
the
culmination.
exception to the rule, yeah, but it's like no, because the stuff on Dulcinea and Coil in many ways surpasses. Uh, if you wanted to get I think probably the most solid album is still 1991's Fear. It's got those two hits on it and a really good variety of song styles,
Hmm.
great musicianship. Um, to me, it's almost kind of like their Sergeant Pepper in a way, as far as being the most impactful. But
Hmm.
then I almost always say that about my introduction album to an artist.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's hard to tone down the gushing effect when you're talking about your favorite band. It's like,
yeah.
because you see me go off when I talk about a band that I like. It's like I'm all over the place, and you're probably thinking, Armando, fucking rein it in already, like bring it to an end kind of a thing. But it's hard because you want to express how much you love the band that you're talking about or the artist, and one or two words, even a sentence, doesn't even begin to describe what you're feeling or what you're going through.
Well, and like we always say, we're not music experts.
We just know what we like.
We know what we like. We're fans, and um, I don't think I've ever known, or at least not consciously, a real fan of music or of a band or an artist or an album or a song um, that they enjoy it so much that they don't want to spread that joy to other people.
Yeah, yeah.
They
And then
want to
when,
share. They want to share that because, gee, this makes me feel really good. I hope this will make someone else feel really good too.
yeah, and then there are times when you do that, and then someone, your friend or whoever hears what hears the band, and they're like, "Okay, all right," and you're like, "Isn't it great?" And you're like, "Well, it's okay." And
Good for you.
then
Yeah, I'm glad you
yeah,
like it. Yeah.
and then your response is like, "Why don't you like it as much as I mean? Like, what's wrong with you?" So yeah, you
Yeah,
get
there's a couple of memes like that I like to post every once in a while. There's one
yeah,
with
yeah.
the penguin with the holding the guitar. It's like, yeah,
I get it. I get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. New album review on Toad the Wet Sprocket, on the release of Rings, the acoustic sessions. Please check it out. You can get it on Spotify. You can listen to it. You can listen to it, I would imagine in this case, on YouTube, but we are going to put the links down below to where you can buy it from their website. You can also get it on Amazon and Discogs at this point. There's two formats. You can get it in CD and a digital download of the album, 14 files in total. But you know what? Here's another idea. Go to your local record store.
that's true.
Go to your local record store.
Support your
Isn't it?
local pusher. Yeah,
Go to your local pusher, music pusher, that is, and see if they can order it for you. I'm sure they can.
yeah.
It is a fantastic journey uh, of just wonderfully reimagined, rebuilt tracks from a band that, quite honestly, should have been hell of a lot bigger than they were. You know, but I guess that was not meant to be. Anyways, please again click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we got coming up.
Any new topic.
Any new content, and we are also on X. Check us out on X. Uh,
Right.
Ken's gonna upload this video on X. He's gonna post it on X for us, okay? And let us know what you think of the album, okay? And again, no right or wrong answers, just opinion. All right. For Ken Cheshire, I'm Armando Venditti signing off. Again, look after yourselves and one another, and we'll see you again on the music den. We have more ideas that we're working on, and I'm going to plug the shit out of this one. Bill Schuster and I, along with Ken, are going to be doing a video called Outlaws and Heroes. Bill's going to take the reins on the episode. We're going to be talking about Bill's favorite country rock bands, and we're looking forward to that. And I'm going to, spoiler alert. Bill and I have talked about doing another ranking of Pink Floyd, ranking the albums on Pink Floyd version 2.0. And it's been a while since we've done that. Stick around to see whether or not our albums are still in the same running order. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised. All right. And we'll see you soon again on the music now. All right. Take care of yourselves and one another. Bye for now.